Hey, my friends, this is Kelly Schaefer with the Concierge Academy, and I'm here today with a special guest, Jen Hickel, and I'm going to let her tell you all about her business and the services that she offers and the conversation that we're going to have today. I invited her on because I think sometimes people get confused about the difference between like a personal concierge or a personal assistant and a virtual assistant. Because I know for me, when I have networked about, for my business and talking to people, and I would say, oh, I do things for people, yada, yada. And sometimes people would say, oh, are you like one of those virtual assistants? And I would be like, oh, God, no. And then I would just laugh for all the reasons why I would never, ever be a VA because it is just not my wiring. So this video, my intention with this video is to help you understand like the difference between a PA and a VA, or personal concierge and a VA, where there is some crossover and some of the skill sets I think you need to have as a personal assistant. Jen's going to share some skill sets she thinks you need as a virtual assistant, because maybe you're following my page and in reality, you secretly would be an excellent VA. So I hope this video helps to educate you about other services that are out there that kind of mesh a little bit with the concierge slash personal assistant industry. And we have some resources for you at the end. And yeah, so we're just going to dive in. So Jen, let everybody know, like in like 3 minutes or less, like who you are, how you even got into this virtual assistant space, and where how your business has morphed over the years, because we've known each other for a really long time.
We have. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Jen. I live in Minnesota and I own the VA Academy. So I teach mostly homeschool moms who want to have a VA business from home, how to build their business, how to get the skills they need that business owners really need them to have so that they can have a lucrative income from home, even if they're homeschooling as well. So I've homeschooled since the beginning. My oldest is almost 24 now. And so I've always worked from home. Even before he was born, I owned a music school. So I started teaching piano lessons and built that up to about 600 students coming to a physical location. We had over 20 teachers, full-time desk staff. And I felt really guilty at the time, but I didn't go to my location to work a lot. I really stayed home. And that's how it kind of clued me in that I'm wired to be virtual. I really love to be home behind my computers with my kids, with my cats. I'm a true introvert. And over the years, not only did I own a music school, but my husband and I started building websites and doing SEO and Google ads and different techie things for music school owners. Because when you're kind of in that right-brained, really creative headspace, you often don't love details, tech, repetitive, recurring tasks, even social media, stuff like that. And so I started coaching creative business owners, and over it came up that I'm like, you just need a VA. You need a VA.
Mm-hmm.
And after so many conversations of this, I was essentially like, hang on, I'll be right back. And I went over to this side and I started advertising, hey, I will train you because I know what they need. So let me show you my passion for all this geeky stuff, whether it's SEO or MailChimp or Canva or building websites. We used to do Weebly. We've done Squarespace, Wix. There's WordPress. There's so many amazing platforms out there. You've got Asana and ClickUp, and I mean, they never end, right? And so that's how I got into it, was really seeing the need, seeing the passionate visionary business owners who just needed that support, that ongoing. And so I decided, well, I'll teach them. And it's been a great fit. So over the last probably 5 years.
Oh, that's so cool. So it's so funny. Like you can tell right away the difference between like a PA, personal concierge, and a VA immediately, because you can see the passion in her face and the excitement, which was like, oh, and SEO and websites, and we got the Canva, and we got the ClickUps, and we got the this, and we got the
Right.
that. And I'm like, whoa.
Totally. Yep.
Right, right. Like I tell my students all the time, and I've shared this story so many times. In the very beginning of my business, not the very beginning, but in that first probably year or two, a guy hired me. He was a local guy. I forget where he even found me, but he hired me. And in essence, he ran, I don't even remember what kind of business he ran. He ran some kind of business, and he had CRMs in like 5 different places
Yep.
on this platform and that platform, and not Outlook, in QuickBooks and in here, and he had all these things, and he was like, I would like to pay you to like bring them all together and have one clean thingamajiggy and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, I could do that. I could figure this shit out because I am a smart person. And then I start getting in there and I start downloading. So I figured out, like, I went to YouTube. I'm like, how do you download what is a CSV file? I had no idea. And then how do you download it? No, I'm okay. So step by step, I'm learning on YouTube how to do the work.
Yep.
But then the problem was that they were all in different formatting.
Yep.
And then and there were thousands, and I mean many, like 15,000 things and I spent probably like 5 hours, and I got through several hundred maybe, because I was like cutting and pasting in Excel documents. I never even used an Excel document in my life at this point. And I finally just said to the guy, I was like, I don't think I'm the right fit for this.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, you don't even have to pay me. And he was like,
Yep.
no. He's like, you put the work in. He's like, I do want to pay you. He's like, but and I was like, yeah, this is just beyond my scope. And then, but then I knew from that moment late on, like, I was like, oh, Kelly Schaefer, we do not do anything with Excel spreadsheets.
And here's the funny thing. The people in my academy geek out about spreadsheets. They love them so much. So one of the first things, we have these challenges set up. When they first come in, they do these challenges and we check their work to verify their skills. They always tell me with glee in their face, I love the spreadsheet challenge with all the formulas. I'm like, oh, God, in the right place. God. And you don't have to love it, right? I do have VAs who are more creative or different, but they're embarrassed that they love this stuff. And they're like, do you really think I can make money from this? Can I really charge for it? I'm like, oh, sweetheart, there are Kelly Schaefers in the world who want to throw up. Okay. Exactly. Don't worry. If you love it, then that is an indication that you should be doing this. So you can very instantly see, I should be doing this. I should not. Right. It's pretty easy, honestly, to kind of figure out, or at least it should be easy. We should pay attention to what gives us energy and what drains us.
Yes, exactly.
Stick with the stuff that you love, because there's a place for all of us, right?
Exactly. Like I say that all the time with my students in my programs. It's like finding, that right fit client, that ideal client really comes down to doing stuff you want to do, that you like to do, that you're passionate about doing. Like when I first started my business, I was very passionate about grocery shopping. So what did I end up doing? I had a lot of clients that I did grocery shopping for. I loved it until about 2 years in. And then I was like, I don't want to step foot in a giant grocery store ever again. I don't want to do this anymore. And then that was like a signal, oh, I need to, and that's for a later conversation for, a later day. But like knowing what you love to do. And it's funny because I do love a spreadsheet, because I'm a systems minded girl. Like I love a spreadsheet, but to create the spreadsheet.
Right. I want to look at the spreadsheet and I want it to be color coded.
Yes.
Pull data out. And I want and I want to be able to see all the information. Absolutely. But even I don't love building it or coming up with the formulas. I like my husband to build it, and then it's all pretty, and then I use it. So we all have different strengths and different, things that we should and should not be doing.
Yeah, that's so funny. Okay. So what do you think are some of the highlights or the personality traits of someone who makes a really great VA?
Yeah. Oh, I love that question. So the thing that I've noticed over the years of doing this is, first of all, a VA that's going to be successful loves to learn. They love researching. When you talked about going to YouTube and trying to figure it out, that's actually a lot of being a VA, because the platforms are constantly changing. There's
Mm.
always, there's companies merging or acquisitions, and then they change. So even when I've loved a certain platform, it's like, well, now it's different because somebody bought them out, or this popped up and this is amazing, or these guys rolled out these features because I can tell they're competing with these guys. Like it's
Uh-huh.
always changing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's just so much out there. So YouTube is our best friend. So that's also why a lot of homeschool moms do really great at this, because we're just nerdy and we love learning. And once our kids kind of get older, they're a lot more self-sufficient. So I was like, well, now what am I going to do? So I'm like, well, learn these skills and have people pay you for them, right? So they love to learn. Number two, you have to be techie. Like you legit have to love your computer and your phone, where there are some business owners that we serve that are allergic to technology. And they'll tell me that. They're like, this is my nemesis. I touch it, it breaks. I don't like it. I do it because I have to. Okay, that would not be a great VA, probably. A
Mhm.
VA is like secretly feels really guilty that they're on their phone all the time. Like they love Googling stuff. They love just seeing what is trending or what's out there. What are people doing? What's the strategy? That makes a great VA. I would say you can be either detailed or creative. That's not a one or the other. There's room for both. And so love to learn. What else? You want to be home, honestly. They're mostly introverts, not always. But I would say that those who find out that being a VA isn't quite right for them, they don't want to be home all the time. And they want to be more
Mm.
hands-on. So they want to be
Yes.
more tangible. So a VA likes the intangible. They like the computers. They like to be at home. Maybe they work super early in the morning or super late at night, but they're like, give me all my screens and give me my cats and my couch and I'll be cozy. And that's what makes a really great virtual assistant. Maybe they live out in the country. Maybe they travel all the time. Maybe, they're a military spouse or something. There's all these different elements, but I think it's probably, you'll have to tell me, but I think it's a little bit more, it's more flexible than maybe a PA, right? Who might be more rooted
Yeah.
in the community.
Yeah. In some instances, definitely. Yeah.
Sure.
For sure. For
So,
sure.
because VA, you can definitely serve anyone, anywhere.
Anyway, oh yeah,
Doesn't matter.
totally. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then from a PA side, so I'm just going to use PA since we're talking personal assistants, virtual assistants, but for personal assistant, for my audience, I'm speaking, kind of globally within the whole box of the concierge industry. And within the industry, there are subset niches within the industry. There's like being a personal assistant for busy people and, high level executives, or being an assistant who is helping seniors by, running errands and doing things in and around the house, or you do move management, move coordination, or you take care of secondary homes. So for a PA, the way I see that some of the skill sets is, number one, you don't have to love technology, right? So that is, I think, one of the greatest, because somebody who thinks they have to know a lot of technology and be techie, I think can really be a barrier to entry for a lot of people who want to help other people, right?
Sure.
And so being a PA or a personal concierge within any of those realms, really, mostly you don't have to have any tech experience. And you can learn from me, say no to spreadsheets, right? But you don't have to have a lot of tech ability or a love of tech. And you can still like dabble in Google and research and that kind of stuff. But there's no barrier to entry when it comes to that. Also, what I love and the way I teach too, like getting clients in the industry, you also don't have that same barrier to entry either, because I don't believe you have to be tech heavy at all. You don't really need to know any tech to get clients in the personal concierge industry. So you don't have to love tech. You definitely are detail oriented. And one of my favorite skills that I think this actually crosses both paradigms, like VA and MPA, is you have, so one, there's the, you love helping people, right? So from the VA side, you just love helping. Like I have a VA and she loves helping me and I love her helping me, right?
Yeah.
And where the same with, a PAs, they love helping each other. But one of the things is learning how to really anticipate needs for your clients, like
Sure.
thinking about your clients before they ask, thinking about, okay, we just did these projects together, whether it's a PA or a VA, we just finished these projects together. What might my boss, right, or my client need from me next, and thinking that through.
Yeah.
And then definitely like multitasking. I think there has to be something with multitasking in being a PA. And the one thing that is the opposite of the VA is you like to be around people.
Yeah.
Now, not to say that you don't have an introverted side, because
Sure.
many concierges, myself included, most people don't think I'm introverted. I actually I'm out, and then I cocoon in because I just want to lock myself away, not be bothered with people. I hate being on the phone. When I am done, I am done. I just want to be with my cat and my dog, and I want to go for long walks, right? So, you don't, but there is a difference between sitting behind a computer screen all day doing your work or being out doing your work in amongst and with other people in person, in community.
Yes.
So I think that's like one of the big differences, right?
I think so too. I think that's a great distinction and really a good place for someone to start if they're not sure which direction, if there's some overlap. I'd try that on for size. And some people do join our academy and realize, wait a minute, this isn't a great fit for me. And they'd rather be out doing in the community. And that's fine. Sometimes we just have to try it on sometimes to decide what's best for us. Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes the learning is in just trying. And even if it doesn't work, then you have an answer on the other side of it not working.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes that's the best way to get answers because otherwise we can sit and analyze and think and try to imagine. And sometimes it's like, no, just start. And that's what I tell my VAs too. I'm like, you don't have to know all the services you're going to offer. Get a good foundation of some of these, common things like Google Drive, Google Docs. It's just so easy to share with your clients, Slack. There's just different things that I recommend getting started with right away. But then just get clients, see what they need, do projects for them, and you'll discover if you love it or if you hate it, and that's okay. Then you can say no the next time, but you really won't know. And they're really, the sky's the limit of what your clients could ask you to do.
Always.
So how you can't be totally ready, right? They'll tell me I'm not ready. I don't think I'm good enough. I'm like, listen, do you love to help? Do you love to research? Then you're ready. That's all you have to be ready with, because you're going to learn on the job. You have no idea. Every industry is different. What they're going to need from you. You can't prepare because you have to just start and say, here I am. I'm ready to serve. What can I do? How can I assist? And if I don't know, I'll go figure it out, which a lot of times that's for our clients. They're usually business owners, right? They want to pay you to go figure it out because they don't have time or they don't want to or whatever. They're doing other things. So when I tell that to the VAs, they're like, oh, okay, I can do that. There you go. Now you're ready. So let's go.
Yeah. And the same with, in the concierge industry, you really need to just start. Yeah. I do recommend always having like a who that you want to work with. So you have a bucket of humans. So you have some understanding of where to start so that you can start telling people, this is who I help. So people that you tell can help find clients for you versus I help you and you and you and you and you and you. And, oh, you too and you too, right? Because then at that point, it's like nobody cares. Nobody's paying any attention to you, right?
That's right.
So
find your niche. Yeah. We do that using some personality scores. So I have them do a strength assessment when they first get in. A lot of people haven't heard of the Kolbe score, but I know you know what it is.
Yeah.
But I take a look, almost like a doctor reading labs, and I'll look at their Kolbe, their strengths, and their Myers-Briggs, and I'll say, looking at this, I would guide you towards an accountant or you should not work with an accountant. You should work with a business coach or whatever, because there's very different personality styles within those clients.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
totally agree that kind of just even you can change it anytime you want, but starting with a niche or the
Something.
niche you want to
Yes.
serve to get
Exactly.
started. And like you're saying, that helps other people refer you, right? When
Yeah,
they
exactly.
know
That's the
who
point
you
of it.
serve, exactly, then they can pass it on or think of somebody for you, or yeah, it's great.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we talked about, so I think that we clearly defined the big differences too
Mhm.
of
Yeah, I think so.
between the two. Now, so what are some of, give me like five, I know you've said it already, but for for those who are considering, oh, do I want to be a VA? What
Yeah.
does a VA do? Give me five things that, like, we'll just say a general VA might do
Mhm.
in their day-to-day work.
Yep. So a VA assists a busy business owner. So they can do that through calendar management, email management, marketing, customer service. So being client facing. Sometimes it's community management, meaning within a Facebook group. We do serve a lot of business coaches in that way, answering questions, being encouraging, being a resource. There's a lot of data entry, just keeping track of lots of clients, right? When I owned my music school, there were so many details of the parents' names, the students' names, their credit card, their
Mm,
email address, and having your information in multiple places, there's always a risk of data integrity. So is it correct over here, but not over here? Or if, somebody contacts our business and was like, actually, you spelled my kid's name wrong. Okay, well, then a VA is that detailed person who's going to go look and make sure it's correct in all the places. Or doing projects that are triggered by different tasks. Like we do check-in calls, every 6 months. So that's going to pop up on a task. So you sit down on your task management as a VA and you're going to be like, okay, what am I doing today? Okay, this person's getting a 6-month check-in. This person, I'm replying to their email. I might create images in Canva. A lot of the VAs, even if they think they're not super creative, they actually end up loving Canva because I give them formulas and I give them recipes, right? Like you can say you hate cooking, but do you hate baking? Do you hate coming up with the idea? If somebody gives you a recipe, do you like it?
mhm,
There's so many pieces with Canva that, like, if I give you a template, you might realize, oh, I actually can do this, or you start
mhm.
with brand colors or whatever. So a lot of VAs end up loving Canva. Then there's a whole nother world of, do you like creating websites?
Yeah, there's like that
That,
next
yeah, the
level.
next level. And so
Yeah,
not
and
everybody goes there, but
yeah, we talk about that, and I've spoken about that on this channel as well. About there's especially working with seniors. I think of there's like tier one, tier two, tier three
yeah,
types of services working with
yes.
seniors. Like a tier one is you're running errands for your seniors, you're getting stuff at the store, you're maybe changing a light bulb, you're doing things
Hmm.
in and around the house for them. And then
Yeah,
maybe a level two, tier two is, and level one, two, I would think maybe even like companionship. A tier
yeah.
two is more like maybe you're escorting them to the doctor's office, maybe you're taking notes at the doctor's office for them, you're coordinating appointments and getting back to the family, and driving. And there's right, because
Yeah.
there's also in the tiers, there's also sometimes more risk involved as far
Right.
as just general risk, and then your insurance has to change and
Mhm.
so forth. But yeah, so but
Yeah.
you don't have to go there. You can start here and then
Right.
figure out what you like. So for you have like
Exactly.
a higher in the VA
Yes.
world, there are definitely tiers of VAs.
Absolutely. And what I like to say is kind of level one is more you're just responding. So whatever they ask you to do, you're doing it, versus as you move up, you become almost more of a consultant. So they're asking you for advice, right? Like I'm using Squarespace. Do you think I should move to WordPress? Okay, well, what do you need it for? What are features that you're missing? And they're taking in that information and able to weigh it out by what they know and kind of say, well, here's my advice, and they can do either one, but the higher you go, the more you're in with some of that more specialized knowledge.
Yeah,
And, and
yeah.
and that's really what I say too, is get in, and start VA services, do as much as you can, help as many people as you can, then choose a specialty. And then you can go deep, right? I've had some VAs who go all in with Asana, and they are the expert because they're helping people move data in or systematize, organize.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And for people who are listening, Asana is a project management software. And it's so funny that you brought that up because that is on my list of topics that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So I am not an expert in Asana, but I have been using Asana for, I think, 12 years now.
Wow.
And I used it originally for tracking clients and then and their needs. And then I started adding things on slower and slower. And then I added all my marketing to it, and that helped me systematize things. And I've used it ever since then. So people, I know there are other things out there.
Right.
People are like, I use this one. I'm like, nope, I'm in it. I'm not leaving.
Exactly.
I love it. When you find something that works,
that's right.
Just stick with it. But I'll be doing a video in the next month or so about 5 ways I use it for my business and 5 ways I use it for my life.
Oh, cool.
To help people with,
I love that.
Nice. Life a little bit. But
absolutely.
So that's so cool.
That's great.
Okay, so we talked about some higher level. So it's like social media management. It's like website build outs. It's like project management. It's more consulting. I know I have worked with a variety of VAs over the years, and some of them were more of just like a doer, and some of them could not make decisions on their own. They needed my feedback all the time. And I realized for me, that's not the level of service that I want, right? I need somebody that I'm like, oh, for example, you're going to build that page, go build that page. You can ask me for the specifics, but don't ask me how I want it built.
Exactly.
That's your job. That's what I'm hiring you for. You know, you're the expertise, you're the expert in this.
Yes.
And so there's,
absolutely.
But there's a fit for everyone.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And a lot of it has to do with skills, strengths, and wiring, right?
Totally.
I don't know your Colby score, but I think we're more alike than different, where I want to move fast. I want it efficient. I want to just get it done. Whereas like my husband's wired where he wants to be in the details, in the system. He's defining how he wants it to be. Yeah, that's not me. I'm like, please think for yourself and just go do it, and I'll approve it. So it just depends, you're going to have a PA or a VA depending on what you need, right? And then conversely, you should have clients that's a good fit for you.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So Jen and I were also talking about VA and PA and how sometimes there is actually a little bit of a crossover. So we've kind of outlined very not different skill sets, but different tasks that you would generally do. VA basically behind your computer, all techie. PA more with the humans, out boots on ground kind of work. And then there are at times where there's like this crossover. And so we came up with 5 things that you might find yourself doing either as a VA or a PA, and that is things like calendar management, where you're maintaining a client's calendar for them, putting stuff on the calendar, putting reminders on there. They might get a list of, I used to have a client that would get a list of the back to school stuff, and she would just send it to us, and we would add all of it, all the details on her calendar. Travel, so researching, booking travel and travel arrangements, online research, and research can be, I have a member in my community who has been with me for 8 years in some capacity within my community over the past 8 years. And most of her work started out as just boots on ground work. And then clients would ask her for like these other projects that were more like behind the computer, right? More administrative. Like, can you find me a place to host a dinner for 50 people in August that's got a great view, right? In this town. And it was things like that. And she enjoyed doing things like that. So there's like general research. And then that kind of bleeds right into scheduling and booking,
Mhm.
calling people and scheduling people to come to the house, calling people and scheduling appointments, booking those appointments, and then some document prep, like some Google Docs, some Word docs,
Mhm.
because, PA can do that and a VA can do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. And I think, I mean, would you say PA tends to not be business owners, and would VAs be more business owners, or do you see PAs also serving business owners?
Yeah, so we see a lot of people. I will say I had a lot of business owners as clients, but they were local business owners. They had
Mhm.
different types of businesses, but I didn't help them like behind the scenes of the business. I helped
Business.
them behind the scenes of their life,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
then allowed them to have more time to be behind this, for them to be in their business, or they might have a secretary and I would coordinate with the secretary,
Sure.
more administrative,
Yep.
admin tasks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you can still have, and I have actually had clients who needed both PA and
Sure.
VA,
Sure.
and they hired us to even go find the VA
Sure.
that
Yep.
had all the skill sets that they needed based
Yeah.
off the, what they were looking for, like, again,
Right.
calendar management and social media posting
Right.
and visual creation, like making
Mhm.
pictures and stuff in Canva, and again, maybe in like Zero
Yeah.
Desires, and then
Yeah.
finding someone to then have them interview for
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Which
yeah.
I think you probably would agree with this too, but this is a personal service, right? So you do
Yeah,
want somebody you
totally.
can trust, and you
Yeah.
want it to be a good fit. And so the client, saying like, can you help me? Like virtual, especially, it's not like you can meet them, right? And they don't usually come into your home and you get a vibe if you're going to get along. Like it's this extra level of trust. And now you're sharing passwords, and like that can be kind of scary. So that's actually another level we do in my VA Academy is we have a directory so that a lot of people who know me, they can say,
Mhm.
hey, Jen, do you have a recommendation? And you can go to the directory, sift, sort, look for what you need, because that referral, like on a referral basis, is just an extra
Yes.
level of trust, right?
Yes.
And you want to start slow and make sure you trust them. And, and we talk about that in my academy too. But I'm sure it's similar with you that
It's
you would,
very similar,
yeah,
right? So people, right? So I talk about this in my programs as well. People have a level of trust. They need to have a level of trust with you because you are physically in their space.
yeah,
You're
right.
in their naughty bitch drawer. I mean, we have found some things making beds. There is, there's a trust level there. And the same thing, like you're sharing passcodes, but people are sharing keys.
Yeah,
They're sharing
yeah,
garage codes,
right.
right? They're sharing maybe banking information.
Yeah,
So even with seniors and helping them like write out checks and stuff. They're
yeah,
handing you their checkbook,
right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's at this level of trust that's
Mhm.
so deep,
Yeah,
but it's just different.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in this industry in general, there is this level of trust, which is why it's so important to be building relationships with people, because
yes.
that is how you get referred. That's how you get
Yeah,
hired in either of the industries.
absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree. There's nothing better than a personal recommendation, personal
Yeah.
referral. And I think you and I both cover that in our programs of how do
Yeah.
you find clients? I mean, that's probably the number one
Yes.
question I get, right? How
Yes.
do I find clients? And
Yes.
there's kind of a whole system that we go through to build that trust and to help people
Yeah.
feel good about reaching out to you. And then what's next? And what do you say on the phone? And how do you get started? There's so many details, and it's really not that hard, but it sure helps to have that recipe, right? And we've gone
Yes.
before and we've
Exactly.
been testing this with our
For
students, right?
years. Yeah.
Yeah, for years and years and years of what works, what doesn't, what
Yep.
backfires, what helps build that trust, all those good things.
Yeah, and everybody will still end up with their own version of
Yeah,
it, but it's like do you want to have to start with the blank slate, or do you want to
Right.
start having some of those pages filled in that you can kind of go back later and like cross out the ones you don't like and add in the ones that weren't there for you personally?
That's right.
So, which is
Right.
so valuable for having, a
Yeah.
coach or a mentor
Mhm.
to help guide you through this process.
I totally agree. And that's what's helped grow my business, right? Whether it was
Yep.
music school or coaching, was working with coaches who've gone before. It's a trail guide. I would never go to Europe with just on my own and go try to figure it out, right? New
Mhm.
language, new culture. Like, please, someone give me a travel agent. Please, like, sign me up for one of those river cruises. You tell me where we're going, right? Like, just give me the guide. And that's how I think of it when you're starting a new business. Like, somebody show me the way here. And it helped me grow my businesses faster. And that's why I'm passionate about helping VAs grow their business faster,
Me
because there's a
too.
lot of info out there. There's so much info out there that it's overwhelming. So,
Yes.
work with a
Yes.
coach that you feel like you connect with, that you have something in common with, that
Yes.
and then if you do that, then you also gain the community of the other people in the program. And I'm sure you
Ex-
guys see that too,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And
Because
all
the
my people
same.
get along. Yeah.
Yeah, the same with my programs as well. It's like the community is there, the
Ah,
support is there.
right.
I've gone before, I've made
Mhm.
all of the mistakes, all of
Yeah.
the costly mistakes. And
Right.
there is a lot of information out there, and it can be so overwhelming. And sometimes there's information out there that is even true and valuable, but a lot of the humans in general need accountability. They do better
Yes.
having some accountability, to have
Yeah.
some hand holding. And that's
Yep.
what we both offer,
Yeah.
in our programs as well.
Absolutely. And validity. So we actually certify our people too. So we check their work and we can say, all right, we have looked them over. We have met with them personally several times doing personal coaching calls, and we have put our stamp of approval on there so that the clients can trust them more. So yeah, it's just very multifaceted.
Yeah.
And railroad tracks, and here's the path, and then you and I both love it so much, right? Like, we get to help these people
Mhm.
succeed. So
Yes.
it is definitely a helper industry. I mean, that's what we have in
Yes.
common, and that's what our clients have in common. We love helping people. And I've
Yep.
tried to get away from it. Like, I literally tried to just own a marketing agency and just build websites. I was like, I can't do it. I have that teacher heart in me. That's why I started
Yes.
with teaching music.
Yes.
I can't get away from it. And I just love it so much. And I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I love all the techie stuff. So I think you and I are both in the right spot. And that's what makes it so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's so funny to talk about the teacher thing. So that was like when I was a kid, I always wanted to play school because I wanted to be the
Yes.
teacher with
Yes.
my cousins.
Yo.
And then when I went to nursing school and I worked in healthcare, I taught what was called the teach back method. I instituted a new teaching policy within the hospital that I worked at to help our patients not come back right away.
That's awesome.
Because you discharge them and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this injection? I got to
Yeah.
do what? And you just ship them out the door. And
Right.
so I was part of this whole spearheading of this process that we started. We got funding for it. We implemented it in the hospital I worked at. And then I also ended up in a role where I was teaching people at the hospital how to do certain things, which kind of,
So
it just like
cool.
naturally fell into my lap
Yep.
that way.
Yep.
And there was a period of time before I had my other children. There was a period of time where that was my intention. When I graduated nursing school and I was working, my intention was I was going to go back to school and I wanted to be a nurse educator. I wanted to teach nurses.
Yep.
But then life went down a different path for me,
Yeah.
and I ended up not doing that. And then
Yeah.
it kind of came full circle. Again, it's like the things you love to do
Yes.
are going to find you somehow.
That's right. They keep showing up.
Let them
Totally.
find you.
That's
Don't
right.
overcomplicate it.
That's
Don't
right.
feel like you have to get good at the stuff that you're not good at.
Right.
Just own what you are good at.
Yes. What you already have, your experience, anything. Exactly. I say that all the time. And that's so interesting that you say that, Kelly, because that was for me. Not only did I love teaching piano, but I started teaching teachers how to teach. That's what started my music school. That was my passion. Because they're like, how are you doing this? How are you finding students? And I was like, well, gather around. And I just started picking up
Come along.
people. It was so fun. And and that just totally morphed and changed, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But yeah, it's just in my blood, and I love it,
Yes.
and obviously you do too. And I always tell the VAs too, like, find a need and fill it. Right? There's needs
Yes, that's it.
everywhere.
There's
People
needs
need you.
everywhere.
What can you do? Who can you help? Just
Yep.
start there.
Yep. And that's the first way you can help. That's how you can get your first client. Who needs
Yes,
help and how can I help? Right. And just
exactly.
go out there
Yeah,
and be of service to other people in the world.
that's right.
And if it's directed
Mhm.
from a place of love,
Yep,
right, then it will work. If it's
that's
directed
right.
from a place that's not quite love,
Right.
it's going to fizzle out over
That's
time.
right. That's
But
exactly
yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. When it's guided with this, just, I mean, like I said, I can't get away from it. I truly love helping people just for the sake of helping. And when you have that heart, you'll know it, right? So if you're
Hmm.
listening to this and you're like, oh, I can relate to that, then you're probably in the right place, and
Yeah.
it's dialing down into which niche and which people and uh
Yeah. Yeah,
but
and
yeah,
if you're watching this video, I would love to know, like, in the comments below, like, what is one thing? Just think one. Like, don't give me 10, just one thing that you love doing that you would love to do for other people.
mhm.
Just go ahead and put that in the comments just to claim it for yourself. And I think it'll be so rewarding to just claim and own what you're actually naturally good at.
Yeah, I love
So,
that.
whew, this was so good, so
Yeah.
meaty and juicy.
Mhm.
Hopefully, those of you that are watching enjoyed this interview and this session today. And Jen, if people are like, I don't know, I love technology. I want to live behind my laptop and not
Yeah.
talk to humans all day, and you know, be on my laptop at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
How can they learn more about you and your academy?
Yeah, go to jenhickle.com, JenHickle.com, and there you'll find everything you need. So there's a quiz there you can take. Am I wired to be a VA? If you want to hire a VA, or if you know of a business owner who's looking for a VA, there's links there too. The directory is on there, everything that you could ever want. And then once you do that quiz, I'll send you more information too, and that'll just help you know if this could possibly be for you.
Yeah. Awesome. And then maybe for some of you, you're like, yeah, that VA thing is definitely not for me.
Right.
And in that case, my friends, you're my people. So,
Yeah.
but I'm also going to put Jen's information down in the description so that you have her website really easy and you don't have to go try to find it or misspell her name. So we'll make it super easy for you to follow up with her if that's what you're called to do. All right, my friend, thank you so much for coming on. This was so
So
fun.
fun. I
And
loved it.
all right, and then bye, my friends. I will see you in our next video.